My name is Siddhant Sikand, and today I'm going to show you my 90-day transformation. How did I do it? Breaking it down step by step and laying down the structure as to how I did it in the first place. So I got a lot of comments on my YouTube video, which was the actual 90-day transformation journey. That this guy got fat after being shredded just to make this video, or this guy got fat in the first place, then he just went through a cutting cycle, which was not entirely true. So today I'm going to address all those comments, all those things that transformation was not true. Today I'll break it down and I'll show you step by step how I did it, and I'll tell you why I was doing it in the first place. So before I talk about my 90-day transformation video, I want you guys to know that I had already been training for about 5.5 years. Before I made this video, I had already competed once in a competition which was held in my college, Mr. Amity. The video is up there on my YouTube channel. That's like my 4th video, I think, since I started my YouTube channel. After that also I made several vlogs. I got very fat. I had a rebound phase post competition because that was my first competition. I dropped calories very low, like I think 1900, and I did learn a lot about what it means when you go down to a lower calorie number, which I will definitely talk about when you come to the video. As you can see, the graphs has been laid out. And after that I accepted the fat gain. I continued to lean bulk, add muscle, and I went up till like 3500 calories, eating every single day, slowly, gradually, like increasing 50 to 100 calories every 1 or 2 weeks. And my weight was 94 kgs. That kept up till November 2018. And I had already built sufficient muscle in my past 5.5 years of training, which is why a lot of you commented that this guy already had muscles, broad shoulders, back, a little bit of ab muscles, which was visible in the starting of the video. That is true. That was not a clickbait. I was actually 94 kgs. I will break it down step by step over here. I started my cut on 16th November 2018, this 90-day transformation wala cut, and I kept that up till 24th of Feb 2019, as that was the last day of my competition. I had that purpose in my mind, which is why I did that cut, as I want to step on a pro stage. I want to compete at a pro level competition, which is what I did. You guys can definitely check out my competition videos which I have on my channel. Okay, so without further ado, let's get right into the video so that you guys can learn something new and maybe it will help you in your fat loss journey. Step 1, knowing your maintenance calories. Now this goes without saying that it's going to be different for everyone based on their different individual needs, lifestyle, and various other factors, their genders, age, etc. But there are various calculators out there like Harrison-Benedict calculator, Mueller's equation, and other calculators which you can use to get a range. Now it is very difficult to get an accurate number of your maintenance calories because there are various factors involved which an equation doesn't account. And as our bodies are dynamic beings which keep on changing and they adapt to the different foods and activity levels, so your metabolic rate or your maintenance calories also fluctuate accordingly. But anyway, you can use a very simple method. Take your body weight in pounds, multiply it by 14 to 16 number, ranging based on your activity level. So if you're someone who's very sedentary, then like who sits most part of the day, then multiply it by 14. If you're someone who's lightly active, then you can multiply it by 15. Like suppose you're walking most part of the day, your daily activity involves a lot of fidgeting, walking, suppose if you're a teacher or salesman, and multiply it by 16 if you're someone who has a lot of neat activity, like suppose if you're a construction worker, if you're an athlete, or someone whose lifestyle just involves a lot of walking and a lot of running around here and there. Those numbers will also give you a range which you can use later on, and I'll not talk more about that because I want to keep this thorough. I want to talk about the main bit which we have, our graph and my transformation video. But anyway, just to help you guys out, that finding a range and follow that number, break it down, see how your weight responds for the next 3-4 days. If it increases, then that might be your surplus calories. If it remains the same, that could be your maintenance calories. And if you lose your weight, then maybe that's your deficit calories. But anyway, see, experiment, analyze what numbers work for you and make changes accordingly. So coming back to my 90-day transformation journey, I started at 93.8 kgs and I was consuming 180 grams protein, 398 gram carbs, 65 grams fat and 2900 calories. So I also added 10 minutes of cardio, steady state cardio, inclined treadmill walk or medium intensity spinning 4 times per week. That is an additional 100 calorie deficit. I saw nothing happen but only a 0.4 kgs of weight reduction. I thought, okay, maybe this is not enough. I dropped further 200 calories. Now primarily I dropped my calories from carbs because I had enough room to play with. As you can see, 398 gram carbs, that's a lot. Some people don't even eat this many carbs in their surplus, but again I was eating way beyond that, so I had enough room to play with. Then I got down to 2700 calories, which were 190 grams protein, 340 gram carbs and 60 grams fat. Then I saw a reduction in my weight, but also I bumped up my cardio from 10 minutes to 20 minutes 4 times per week, and then I started seeing a reduction in my weight. After a week I got from 93.4 to 91.1 kgs. Now one more thing to keep in mind, that initially whenever you go into a deficit, you do lose a lot of weight quickly in your first few days of cut, and you may even lose like 1 kg or 1.5 kgs. But let me tell you that that's not all fat, that's majorly your water and your glycogen. Every gram of carb holds about 3 to 4 grams of water. So if I dropped, like previously, let's just say I was consuming 400 gram carbs, and even before that I was consuming like 450-500 gram carbs. Imagine how much water did I drop by reducing my number of carbs. So majorly I would say 1 kg would be water, some of it plus some of it would be a little bit of glycogen, then rest of it would be fat. Anyway, then I saw that okay, my weight was fluctuating somewhere around this only for 4-5 days. I was like, okay, I'll drop my calories further below. Then I dropped down to 2500 calories. As you can see, the macros were 190 grams protein, 295 gram carbs, 62 grams fats, which totals up to 2500 calories. And I bumped my cardio up to 30 minutes 5 times a week. I was like, okay, this is the appropriate amount I think I need to do, because I knew I had a competition coming up in middle or end of Jan. So I wanted to be prepared for it beforehand, and I didn't want to rush the process in the end. So I was like, okay, I might go extreme in the beginning little bit, then I can slowly transition into a slower calorie reduction rate. So at 91.1 kgs, I dropped my calories to 2500. Then I started again seeing a reduction in my weight. It was 90.4, then 89.9, then days passed by. This was about 3 to 4 weeks. I got to about 88.8. Now around this period only, I also went on a trip, but my weight was roughly staying the same. For 3 weeks, it didn't drop below 88. Like it was fluctuating between 89.5 and 88.23. So I added another 10 minutes of cardio plus another 1 day of cardio after my workout. That sums up to about 40 minutes cardio 6 times per week. Now for a normal person, that is a lot of cardio, and I do not recommend everyone bumps up their cardio or reduce their calories this quickly as I did. Yes, this is a quick process. I do not recommend that everyone should do it. After that, 40 minutes of cardio 6 times per week, I still didn't see much of a weight drop. It was only like 0.2, 0.3 kgs and it stuck there. I was like, okay, you can see I dropped further 300 calories. I was like, 100 calorie drop is not enough to see that weight switch. Now one more thing that I want to talk about is your metabolic adaptation. So every person's total daily energy expenditure, which we refer to as TDEE, that is different, and that comprises of 4 things. Number 1 is resting metabolic rate, which we refer to as metabolism. Resting metabolic rate is nothing but the amount of calories our body needs to keep us alive, to keep our organs functioning. That comprises of 60 to 70% of a TDEE. Second thing is NEAT, which we talked about in our earlier part of the video, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which are activities, for example, walking, fidgeting, etc., getting groceries, etc. Third is EAT, which is exercise activity thermogenesis. No, it's not eating food. It is exercise activity thermogenesis, which refers to the amount of calories which we burn through exercise or any form of activity which keeps our heart rate going, which helps us break a sweat, etc. And number 4 is thermic effect of food, the amount of calories which our body burns while breaking down and digesting the food. Now that comprises 5% of a TDE, but still it is a part. Combining all these 4 factors gives you the total number of calories your body burns in a day. Now metabolism is very adaptive. TDE in total is very adaptive. It will change based on your lifestyle, your activity level, the amount of calories that you consume. So from 2700, I dialed down my calories to 2500. My weight loss kick started again, and again I started losing weight. So again, a course of 2-3 weeks, adaptation happened. My weight started getting plateaued, metabolic rate started adapting, and here, that is where my weight stalled. Again, after 2-3 weeks, I needed to drop my calories further below to 2200 calories. And this is a continuous process until you reach your goal weight or the weight that you desire. That was a quick example to help you guys understand how our metabolism adapts, how our bodies are dynamic beings. We cannot expect to diet down on the same deficit numbers as we started at, because our body does adapt to every single thing that we do. As I said before, our metabolism goes down and your maintenance calories are also adjusting throughout your weight loss program. For example, my maintenance calories obviously would be higher because this was my weight loss calories. As I kept going down, my maintenance calories also kept going down because my resting metabolic rate was also going down. So whenever you think about your maintenance calories, either in the middle of a cut or the end of the cut, don't ever think the same number that you did in the beginning of your cut. Your maintenance calories at the end or in the middle will be much different than your maintenance calories in the beginning of the cut. Always remember that. So after 2-3 weeks of seeing that I'm not losing weight at 2500 calories even after doing 40 minutes of steady state 6 times a week, I was like, okay, I think it's time to drop down to 2200 calories. A 300 calorie reduction would definitely put me back on my weight loss. So right after I started eating 220 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, 57 grams fat, which totals up to about 2200 calories, I started dropping weight the next day. And I dropped down to 87.7 kgs, then 87.2, 86.3 as you guys can see, and so on. Now I kept eating 2200 calories until my show day, which was about, I think, day 83. That was 31st Jan when I had my Goa Regionals Sheru Classic IFBB. Now after 1 or 2 days after my show, I ate whatever I wanted, and which definitely shot my weight up. After I came back, I was like, okay, I will give myself 2 or 3 days of, you can say, refeed. I bumped up my calories to 2400, which was 220 grams of protein, 250 gram carbs, 60 grams fats, and I ate that for about 2 or 3 days. After that, I dropped my calories straight to 2000 calories because I had another competition, the pro qualifiers, coming after 3 weeks. I was like, this competition, I want to be shredded. I want to look my best that I ever have. I was like, I don't care if I go down to like even 1600 calories, which I did eventually, but anyway, which was definitely not sustainable. So I dropped down to 2000 calories, which summed up to what, 210 gram carbs, 210 grams protein, 160 gram carbs, 60 grams fats. And up till this point, it was still sustainable. I was still sane. But after that, I started experiencing a lot of side effects, fatigue, poor sleep, thinking about food the whole day. I actually dreamt of food, and I'll make a separate video on this, effects of dieting, etc., if you want to see that video. And after that, I saw that my weight had gone down to 84.2 again. I was like, I think this is not enough to get me to that shredded look that I want. I dropped my further calories to 1800. That was about 210 grams protein, 120 gram carbs, and 60 grams of fat. 1820 calories. That has been the lowest that I had ever been. Again, I dropped a little bit of fat, got down to 82.9. Now this was the time, this was the period, as you can see, below 2000 calories, that I lost a lot of muscle also. I'll post my photos on the screen. I could clearly see a difference that I was not only losing fat but also muscle, especially in the end, with so much cardio going on. I also bumped up my cardio to 40 minutes 7 times per week. I had no rest days, and my recovery was shit. My training volume was higher than ever. So this was a phase where my body was under so much stress, and there was like not a lot of recovery coming in to match that level. Anyway, I thought, okay, I'm not losing the weight that how I would like to. I would drop even lower. I dropped 100 calories primarily from carbs, 215 grams protein, 87 gram carbs, 57 fat, 1720 calories. Again, that was not at all sustainable. I do not recommend that any of you should go that low, but again, competition in 2 more weeks. I was like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. That is why the title of the video is whatever it takes. I actually wanted to have no regrets, that I wanted to give my best shot at this competition and look my best that I ever had. Anyway, after that I saw, okay, I lost like 0.3 kgs. Now I had like last week of my prep, like this is the last 7 days. Is there any scope of reducing calories even further? I was like, yes. Again, 120 calories sloshed off, 210 grams protein, 60 gram carbs, 57 gram fat, totaling to 1600 calories. And I was not at all consuming 1600 total. I always left 40 to 50 calorie mark for any unaccounted error whenever you track food. No food's nutritional info is 100% correct. There are definitely certain miscalculations, or suppose if you are weighing your food, you may have added another 5-10 grams extra. So I will always leave 40 to 50 calories for any unaccounted error, which I do. But at this point, I was tracking my veggies, I was tracking my sauces, every gram of food that went into my mouth, I was tracking every single thing. Now, this is the layout. On 23rd of Feb, I had my show day. I have a vlog, you guys can watch it, how it went. I have it on my YouTube series in my playlist, show day videos. But as you can see, this was a period of almost 97 days. And I went from 2900 calories, eating 2900 calories, to mere 1600 calories, almost half the amount of food. And I lost about, how much? 93.8, 82.2, almost 12 kgs in 14 weeks. Some people will say that that is a fast rate of weight loss. Some people will say that, okay, that is a moderate rate of weight loss. So now I'll talk about few things which I could do differently, which would have helped me come out of this prep as a better person, which would not have resulted in me rebounding, in me having those hormonal imbalances. My hunger was super high, my satiety was very low. So what are the few things that I could have done differently throughout this 90-day process? Now I'm going to talk about that. Number one is including diet breaks. Now you ask me, what are diet breaks? Diet breaks are nothing but periods, 1 or 2 weeks of periods where you are eating on your maintenance calories instead of deficit calories. So suppose you eat at your deficit numbers for about 2-3 weeks, you lose weight, then you go back to your maintenance calories for about 1 or 2 weeks, depending upon how you set up your plan. And what are diet breaks? Why is it important? I'll tell you that. According to an article by Eric Trexler, your metabolic rate is likely to decrease across the course of a contest prep diet. This reduction in energy expenditure is largely attributable to NEAT. Weight loss and calorie restriction decrease the amount of energy used during exercise in rats. This observation has also been seen in humans even after adding weights to ensure that the person was still moving the same amount of body weight as before the weight loss had occurred. A study was recently published by Bayan and colleagues. Study featured 2 groups, with each group following a weight loss diet. Group 1 followed the diet for 16 weeks with calorie intake set to 67% of their maintenance requirements. Group 2 followed the same weight loss diet but with a twist. They consumed 67% maintenance for 2 weeks, then consumed 100% maintenance calories for 2 weeks and alternate back and forth. So Group 2 still did 16 weeks of weight loss dieting, but it took them about twice as long to allow for these 2-week diet breaks. Over the course of the study, both groups consumed the weight loss diet for 16 weeks. However, their actual results were not equivalent. The group with diet breaks lost more weight, lost more fat, and had a smaller degree of metabolic adaptation. There is a cost-benefit analysis to be considered. The longer and more frequently you introduce diet breaks, the longer your overall contest prep process becomes. So this is why diet breaks are very important. This will help you have a smaller degree of metabolic adaptation throughout your weight loss journey, and it depends on a person to person how long or the duration of their weight loss program is. So suppose if you're a person who is doing 12-week cutting program, now that can maybe look like 2 weeks of calorie restriction followed by 1 week of diet break, or 3 weeks of calorie restriction and 1 week of diet break. So you can split it up however you want. I'll mention the article in the description box down below, but if you guys want me to make a separate video on diet break and refeeds, I can do that too. Mention in the comment section down below. So first was diet breaks, second is refeeds. Now what are refeeds? Refeeds are higher carb days. Those are days where you consume more carbs than what you do on a normal day, and during that you decrease the amount of protein and fats that you're consuming so that you amount to the same number of calories, and so that it doesn't result in that much of a spike in your weight. I'll mention the links of the study in the description box down below. So another thing that I want to point out is that around this period, when I came out of my Goa wala show, this was a period that was very sustainable for me, but I did go deeper into my cut, and that resulted in a small rebound after what happened after my competition. I binged out like crazy. I ate like 8 or 9,000 calories for 2 days. I also documented that, where I ate whatever I wanted. That vlog is also up there, and I gained like 6-7 kgs in 2 days. That was mostly water, but still. My point being in letting you guys know all this is, whenever you go through a weight loss journey, be it going from 94 to 82 kgs, it doesn't matter if you're not taking your habits with you, which you built along this period, if you're not sustaining the end result after that. If you're just, okay, you achieved your desired physique, you achieved your desired weight, right after next week you're going all out, eating whatever you wanted, spoiling the physique, spoiling the end result which you got. So most of you guys who are watching, you might be looking to lose couple of kgs, just go through a regular weight loss cycle, but still knowing all these things can make a lot of difference, because you cannot go through a weight loss program and expect to look the same way afterwards if you do not keep the same habits after you got that end result. So whenever you're looking to lose weight, or if you're on a cutting program, you should always have this weight loss pyramid in your mind. Number one is sustainability. No matter what your goal is, no matter what your plan is, if you cannot sustain, if you cannot expect to follow it for like even 3-4 weeks, do not do that. Always find a plan which works for you, which is suitable for you. Number two is being in a calorie deficit. As we talked about in our earlier part of the video, just take off 400 to 500 calories from your maintenance calories, and that will put you in a calorie deficit. So number three is resistance training, adding load to your training. If you're doing only body weights, or if you're doing only body weight movements, it will definitely benefit you by adding some weights in your training program. So number four is protein intake. Now protein intake varies from individual to individual based on their recovery demands, based on their age, how much activity are they doing on a daily basis. But just to give you guys a rough range, 0.6 grams per pound of body weight to 1 gram per pound of body weight is a good enough range. But as you guys can see, I started with 180 grams of protein, and during my last few days of my cut, I bumped up to 215 grams of protein. As you get lower, as your calories go down, as you're consuming fewer carbs, and your training volume is increasing, your cardio is increasing, you are placing a greater stress on your body, your recovery demands are increasing, and to preserve more muscle mass, to retain as much muscle mass as possible, I increase my protein requirements. And sometimes in situations like these, you may need to push those ranges, 0.6 to 1 gram per pound, to even 1.2 or 1.3 grams per pound of your body weight. So in the starting of your cut, you can start with 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. As you get deeper into the cut, you can go up to like 0.85, 9, 1, your call. But see and imply according to your situation, according to how much your body needs. Number 5, sleep. Sleeping is very important. That is where all the magic happens. Now, if you're sleeping only 4 or 5 hours, you may not be giving your body the adequate recovery it may need. So definitely get your sleep in. Sleep 7 to 8 hours minimum every single day. Also, when you sleep less, your cortisol also elevates. You might be looking bloated because you might be holding water due to stress. So 7 to 8 hours is a good enough time for you to sleep and give your body the adequate recovery that it needs. So number 6 and the last level of a pyramid is cardio. Now, I see a lot of people doing endless amount of cardio in the beginning of their weight loss program. That is definitely not how they should go about it. Before you tick mark and clear all these levels of weight loss pyramid, you should definitely not include cardio. That should be the last thing which you include and tailor and use it to manipulate your weight. Before you follow a plan which is sustainable, before you get into calorie deficit, you're hitting your protein intake, you're hitting the weights, you're getting your sleep in, then see whether do I need to add additional cardio or add additional activity to my current routine to again kickstart my weight loss. As you guys can see, I gradually increase my cardio because that is where I thought it would definitely help me cut back on my body weight. So that is one tool. Cardio is a tool which will help you manipulate your body weight, that is not the sole driver of your weight loss. That is very important, so keep that in mind. This weight loss pyramid in whole, if you follow that and just tweak and manipulate according to your needs and your goals, you will definitely get to your end result. It's not like I lived like a caveman throughout this 90-day transformation journey, although as you get deeper into the cut, your level of flexibility keeps on getting lower, especially when you're competing. But if you are a person who is looking to lose a couple of kgs, or if you're just on a regular weight loss program, definitely do include that 80-20 principle. 80% foods coming from the whole food sources and 20% you are including the foods that you like eating. So obviously I did went out, but I did account for those calories. I did manipulate and adjust my carbs and fats accordingly throughout the day. Few more takeaways that I want you guys to have from this video is give yourself the time. It is a process. Give yourself the time to go through the 12-week, 14-week, 16-week mark. Do not rush into this process, and do not just think about getting from here to here without building any habits. Habits are key. If you are not able to sustain what you have been doing throughout this period, then it will all be for nothing, because otherwise you'll go back to the same way you were eating before. That will again result in you looking the same way that you were earlier before this happened. So habits are very important. Focus on building habits. Stay disciplined throughout the process. You may stay motivated for like 1 week, 2 weeks at the max, or even 3 weeks, but after that, when all that motivation is gone, discipline is the key which will help you get to your goals. So focus on building habits, not on the weight loss and all. Everything will follow. Focus on being disciplined. Whatever you're doing, just think of taking baby steps, building those healthy habits, eating clean foods, eating whole foods, walking 6,000-7,000 steps a day. Start small and slowly build up and layering other activities on top of it. So there are some people who do not prefer to count calories. Now there's nothing wrong with that, to each their own choice, but when you are competing on a show, it is definitely better to be as precise and accurate as possible to know how much and what is going on in your body. So for people who are not looking to count calories, you can use the portion guide method, but even though having a basic idea of all the nutrients will definitely go a long way. So if you do not prefer to count calories, you can definitely use other ways to just have a rough estimate or to control your serving size. One way is your hand portion size method, where you're consuming 1 palm size of your protein source, 1 fist size of your carb source, and 1 small handful of your fat source in every single meal. So that will be a well distributed nutrient profile in every single meal. See how that works for you, see how your weight responds, then make further changes, whether decreasing your carbs, whether decreasing your serving size, or adding more cardio. And last but not the least, spend enough time in building muscle mass. That is very important. A lot of people, they just rush into getting that shredded or that lean look. Even I was one of them, and in my earlier days of training, I didn't spend any time building muscle. I was just looking to lose fat because I was a chubby kid. But it goes a long way. It will definitely lead you to having a leaner appearance over time. So just spend 2, 3, 4 years in building sufficient amount of muscle mass before you hop onto a proper cut, before you look to get shredded. You can definitely get shredded, but ultimately the goal is to look lean and muscular and feel strong, so, and also which is sustainable, which you can maintain for most part of the year. So definitely building muscle mass will go a long way in supporting that goal. That is it for today's video, guys. Breaking down my 90-day transformation. This was part 1, which was nutrition. Now if you guys want to see part 2, where we talk all about training and what my training split was, how the recovery was, how much cardio, what type of cardio was I doing, everything in detail, hit the like button down below, because if we get to about 500 likes, then I will definitely put out that video. And let me know in the comment section below if you had any doubts regarding any single topic. Comment below if I missed anything. If you guys have any doubts, I'll be happy to clear them out. Siddhant Sikand signing off.